Yeah.
So I'm watching Howard Stern, right? Not watching, but he's on Sirius XM, right? And
Okay.
he has John Cena on. All right, so let
All
me let
right.
me start with this, Jim.
All right.
I don't think I respected any human being more in life at this point than John Cena. The guy just like all right, so I was explaining to my wife and then share me your thoughts, I guess is I was at the gym and I'm listening to it and I'm thinking to myself, man, Monty, you got this short time on this planet. You've got to be a better person. This guy's moral fabric and his moral compass is so on. It's amazing.
Hmm. All right. Well, are you that surprised? I mean, we've talked to John's father, and there seems to be a very solid foundation that it came from. He's never been in trouble, to my knowledge. Um, I'm not really surprised at it. Like, look, John Cena, the gimmick, I was never a fan of, but I think you've seen me grow from getting way past just the wrestling gimmick to like, the guy is obviously a good person. If he's not, then Derek Jeter isn't. Okay, and a whole bunch of other athletes that we can actually probably name that are good people. He's
Mm.
one of them. He's special. He's a special guy, and I'm still waiting for his first good movie. But I'm pretty rough. I
Dude,
prefer.
to be honest with you, he's done some decent movies.
It's not that. It's not that. It's more like the same thing with The Rock. Also, it's just where's your I don't know. Get like a guy like Tom Hanks. You can name several movies.
Like,
It's like,
where's your
wow,
Forrest
killer.
Gump?
Oh my God, Oscar. Right. Where's anything like that? Where's your Philadelphia? Where's your, whatever you want to call, any gem that he did. I mean, hell, Tom Hanks in Castaway is great.
Well,
Where is it?
well,
You know?
again, I don't think you can confuse Tom Hanks for The Rock or John Cena, right? I don't think you
Right. Well,
transition like
isn't
that.
but isn't The Rock the biggest star in Hollywood? I mean, look, I understand
Being
standards
box
years and
office doesn't make you a great actor, though, Jimmy, right?
right. I guess not anymore. Where do you think that really started, though? Because back in the day when we were kids, are you going to tell me that the biggest box office names weren't gooders?
Well,
I mean,
Stallone,
now
Schwarzenegger.
hold on. Sylvester Stallone is a bad actor?
No, not a bad actor, but he's not a great actor.
I'll
He's
tell you
actually
what,
gotten
though.
better, you know.
You know what? Gotten better may be one thing, but as far as I'm concerned, his performance as Rocky Balboa in 1975's Rocky, yeah, yeah, there's your Forrest Gump right there.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, it started with
Jimmy,
an
I kind of think
amazing
it's like
role
this.
and an
It's like
amazing performance.
Gandolfini as Tony Soprano.
Right. Well, he
You
was
know,
born to play that. He
you
was
just
born to play that.
mentioned Sylvester Stallone as Rocky. I think there's,
Now, if you want,
Christopher Reeves as Superman.
here,
These roles
here's a
define
good
you.
here's a good one for you. You can be a huge star and be the man and not be the greatest actor. And here it comes because I think you'll agree with me. Bill Shatner.
Mm.
William Shatner is a ham bone. But my God, was he born to play Kirk? And then later on, he reinvented. How many times has he reinvented, by the way? Hooker was a big show back in the day.
It was a good
T.J.
show, yeah,
Hooker.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like Shatner's not the greatest actor. So, okay, I guess what I'm saying is that they're serviceable. Oh, my God. They're serviceable. There you go.
You
They're
brought up The
serviceable as
Rock.
actors.
Cena speaks
Right.
about his matches with The Rock and how he took advantage of the situation with The Rock because he thought he could get away with it and he could get himself over. But then he realized the mistakes he had made and he apologized to The Rock for it. But he mentioned
Interesting.
how professional Dwayne Johnson was because Dwayne could have said,
Hmm.
you know what, I'm just not working with this guy anymore. He's not playing
Right.
fair. I mean, you saw the documentary where The Rock was reading his script on the wrist and Cena
Hmm.
called him out for it. And I think some things happened
Right.
during the matches.
Right.
That's what impresses me about Cena. Like, most people don't recognize when they're wrong and say, you know what? I made that mistake, but I'm wrong and I'm sorry. I think that goes a long way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what am I going to say? I think everybody's got a degree of stubbornness to them. it doesn't make them, bad people. Well, it depends on how far you want to take your stubbornness, I guess. But it doesn't make you a bad person. That's a special quality. I mean, but John Cena's is like a special quality kind of person, I guess. He seems to have those attributes. Look, we had the I don't think you watched him growing up, but Mr. Rogers was like the template for what a decent human being should be. And you should have remorse if you make a mistake, But come on, how many? Not to get biblical, but the prophet from Nazareth said that it's basically like it's easier to pass through the eye of a needle than to get into my house.
Right.
That's pretty rough, dude.
No, it is rough.
That's pretty rough. So, the odds are against us that most of us are going to be like John Cena. But isn't it nice to have one? I guess that's why you're telling me all these things. Isn't it nice to have somebody like John Cena so we can reflect on our own deal?
Here's the one thing that really hit home, Jimmy, and I think you could really take this with you. He was talking about his relationship with his father and his mother. And his father was a big wrestling fan. And John explains as a kid, he got his butt kicked all the time in school and he started working out. And his father wanted to be a professional wrestler really bad and forced John to watch professional wrestling. He also claims he never took any steroids. I don't know how possible that is, but we'll take him at his word because he seems pretty honest about everything else. So maybe he's just naturally huge like that.
I would say that's as in impossible. But go ahead.
And then he talks about he had this his father never gave him that attaboy, attaboy, like, I love you, John.
All right.
And
okay,
he did all this stuff kind of just to get his father's recognition. Not completely, but here's the thing. And now I see it because, look, we're big fans of John Cena Sr. Great guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But,
yeah.
When I used to watch John Cena Sr. on Boston Wrestling, he never used to talk well about his son. And I don't mean he talked bad about him, but he never gave him any props. And I thought it was very weird. And when we had him on a couple of weeks ago, we finally got him to say, my son should be on the Mount Rushmore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at that point during that interview with us, because I always thought about it, but that interview, I said, they must have had problems growing up. And listening to the Stern interview, I realize they had problems. Do you think
it's interesting
having a poor relationship with your dad, when I mean poor, is when your dad drives you, that's where these winners come from?
Yeah, I think that, well, okay. Wow. This is kind of deep, man. All right. There is nothing more, at least I believe so, that a child wants than the love and approval from their parent, father or mother. Okay? I will say that it can really drive you to succeed or to at least be the absolute best at what you think your talents are as the child. Okay? You go for it. You take chances. You do things other people wouldn't do. You box. And trust me, John had to do a lot of probably pretty out there things to make sure he made it in the business. I'm sure his schedule was not exactly normal when he was trying to make it before he made it. And then afterwards, I'm sure the schedule was insane too. So I don't think there's anything more that you want than its approval. If there was any kind of friction between the two of them over the years, I'm not surprised that, something, they keep it separate. I don't know if you've noticed that, but John Cena Sr. he rests on his own laurels. He doesn't, go out and talk about, of course, everybody knows him through his programs with his son in WWE, but he doesn't go out of his way to talk about it. He concentrates on his deal. What was shown and Mike, we haven't pressed much to talk to him about his son, but we did just naturally last interview. It just happened. The same way we weren't expecting John Cena Sr. to talk about Vince. He suddenly wanted to and talked about Vince with us. It was all very organic. So you can see that I think it's pretty clear that they love each other. Uh, Whatever friction happened over the years, they've kept it private. Are you that surprised? They're classy people, right?
Mm.
They don't air their laundry, and it sounds like it's a work in progress. Like it may always be a work in progress, but I don't think that things are bad between them. That's just my gut read. You know, a lot of it's business.
It's a great point, Jimmy. I got to tell you, no matter like what John Cena Sr. might have done for them growing up, maybe not being the most passionate father. And we know a lot about
Hmm.
those non-passionate fathers, right? Like John
Hmm.
McEnroe's father, right? Trying to
Right.
drive their children to the level. And, you know, hey, let's keep it in the wrestling realm. Fritz von
Right.
Erich, right?
Right.
Fritz von Erich
Right.
driving his
Hey,
kids.
hey, Mike. One of the most talented quarterbacks I ever saw was a kid named Marinovich. You remember his dad?
I do, yes.
Like, wow. How could you ever meet up to those expectations? You know, he would have had to been Ken Stabler times 10 to do that.
No, you're right. You're
So
right.
it's not an easy thing, man. But you know something though, John Cena persevered, and look what he's become from it. Look, if it drove him, it certainly drove him to the top of the mountain. It's not like he had to stop for gas at the bottom and never got up to the top.
You know,
You
you,
know?
you know, guys, this is kind of a melancholy show for us, right? Because these will be our last two shows out of the great indie music studios. But don't worry, we will
Yeah.
be at another studio next week where we will have our regular show on Thursday. And then Jimmy is in live in studio on Thursday. And then Friday and Saturday, we've got Chuck Palumbo on Friday. And we have Jerry Lawler, Andre the Giant, and Eric Sims back to back to back on Saturday. Jerry the King Lawler, guys, it's going to be huge. Not to stick on the Cena
Unbelievable.
thing, I got two more things to cover with you on that, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Another thing I
Hit it.
thought about was, you know, we know what John has done for Make a Wish and those children. And that was the
Hmm.
other thing I was thinking, because when we're talking about this show, remember the few times I would say to you, especially during COVID, hey, I got this email from someone, and they said, thank you for making me laugh. I felt like these were my last days. You guys are kind of making me stick around. And I said, dude, it doesn't really matter how many people watch us. If you made a difference in someone's life, that's all that makes a difference. And then yesterday I thought to myself, I'm a little bit envious of John Cena, because how great must it feel, especially for a child, in their last days to meet their hero and spend time with their hero in any kind of condition. And John Cena having the ability to change someone's life like that, I'm a bit envious.
Um, what John does is almost indescribable generosity and responsibility. There are very few people like John Cena. I mean, the time that he takes to take care of those who are very, very unfortunate, his contributions to humanity compared to the average person walking down the street are immeasurable. Um, it's really about, can we just pick on his gimmick? I mean, I hate to be the Pharaoh and do that, but I mean, my God, there is nothing bad you can say about John Cena. He's just a really good guy. I wouldn't be envious of him, Mike. Not everybody gets to be one of the five most famous professional wrestlers in the world. Be proud of everybody should be proud of who they are, work themselves to be better every day,
Mm,
the way John Cena obviously does.
it's great, great way to say it. One last thing on Cena.
Yeah.
So I'm in Florida, and you know, me, my wife, and my daughter and her husband, we spent a couple of days in Florida together in the Keys. But it was early morning. My daughter was wearing a Hustle, Loyalty, and Respect shirt. And I'm like, hey, where'd you get that? You know, I was busting her balls.
Nice.
Anyway,
Nice.
Stern asked
Nice.
Cena about Vince McMahon. And John Cena, I mean, I'm going to paraphrase here because I don't
All
have it
right.
exactly it is, but John Cena says, I love that man. I'm going to stand by that man. I'm going to tell him I'm going to stand through whatever he's got to get through. He goes, I have a moral fiber, and hopefully what's being said isn't true. Because then you have to
Mm-hmm.
second guess yourself, right? Because you don't want to break your morals. But as The Rock did too, and as Brock Lesnar did, they're standing by the man that made them. They're standing by their friend, and they're standing by their father figure. And for someone like John Cena, The Rock, Brock Lesnar, they got millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really matter what everybody thinks. But I got to
Right.
tell you, it takes some balls, especially at that level, to make a stand for what you believe in.
Well, here's the deal, dude, and it takes some balls from every level, because since when did allegations become convictions? Since when? That's what I want to know. Because some of the things that I've seen written about us for having the nerve to give both sides to a story are a joke to me. Do you have any clue what you're talking about out there? Our job is to interview and get the full opinions of people. Allegations, in the end, are not convictions. Let me know when there's a conviction. So as far as The Rock and John Cena and everybody else who's got the balls, we got the balls too. Just in case you're curious as to where we stand on everything, okay? My personal opinion of Vince doesn't mean a thing here. I'm interested in convictions. Allegations is taught in the good book as gossip, okay? So when you write into our pages and you start calling us all sorts of names because of our having the nerve to interview two sides with their allegations and then tell us nothing about convictions and then decide who we are as people, you are guilty of being a troll. Period. All right? I don't get on the chat. I don't get on all that stuff because I'm not a computer dude. I'm a show dude. Go ahead, Mike. I'm getting annoyed. I don't know what happened there, but I'm kind of ticked off. Go ahead.
Well, that's not what I